All right, click the links to join the channel here over at Subscribe Star. So I got to admit, I'm trying not to sound too much like a Disney simp because, they're obviously lizard people from hell. But Guardians of the Galaxy #1, at least, that was a standout Disney movie. That was a solid, legitimate movie where you had, it wasn't lightning in the bottle like a Star Wars New Hope type of thing, but you had some chemistry going on there. It was definitely, I think, the gem out of a lot of other Disney Marvel movies that just were fun. They had money behind them and they had people into them. But like Guardians of the Galaxy is something I think you can go back and watch. Plus the CGI was really good. It's like they used CGI correctly to depict things, like the outer space scenes. All that worked pretty well. Anyway, so they're talking about projections are going to be a little bit low, and it's like it's going to be the last movie in the series anyway. Now it's not going to bomb, but if it did, you're expecting like, oh, heads are going to roll at Disney. I don't think so. I mean, they're committed to woke. They're committed to going down this path. You can't fire people for doing exactly what you told them to do. Like everyone, the decision making people will sit down and say, "Hey, this is the direction we want to go in with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. These are the messages. This is the script." And it's like people are approving it at all levels, and then it comes out, and if it underperforms, which would be for Guardians of the Galaxy to underperform, should be shocking. It's a come to Jesus moment. My friend, you don't understand Disney. They're committed to woke. So even with that commitment, though, they're looking at a lot of bombs and Disney movies that have been very flat lately. For some reason, the woke crowd doesn't watch movies. They demand these kind of movies with all this, like what was it? I almost said the Proud Boys, not the Proud Boys. It's like Loud and Proud. It was some animation coming from Disney or something. It's a bunch of kids who are BLT, and the whole thing is like, your radar just pings a little bit when you start hearing this. Like, wait, you're discussing kids and sexuality. The radar starts pinging louder and louder. Like, this feels like this goes beyond Disney. Looks around at society. Stacks up those whatever you need to prepare. Anyway, so what happened? What used to happen is Marvel had good openings and long legs, which I know how that sounds as I say that out loud. But recently they open well and then they fall off because they're just woke propaganda. People still go in the expectations of the fun, older, silly Disney Marvel movies. But those days are gone. And if you look at the past 4 years of what Marvel and DC and whoever else has come out with, there's a spark missing to all this. In the DC side also, it wasn't just the bombing in Wonder Woman 84, which was friggin' horrible, but it was the SS Squad movie part 2. Even part 1 was horrible too, but part 2 is like I watched it and then I thought, usually I do with movies is if it's good, I'll watch it again immediately. And I started to do that. I got 5 minutes into it, I go like, oh, I really don't want to see this, and I didn't. I just turned it off and I just like moved on. There's just nothing. Like there's nothing in the movie. Wow, what can you point to? You can't point to one woke scene, Mr. Hugo Boss. It's like not exactly. It's like it just didn't do anything. It's like Shang-Chi didn't do anything, or Black Widow didn't, or a bunch of these, or Black Adams, or I mean, any movie you name in the past 4 years, you look at them, it's like, so would you go back and rewatch them? No, they're just missing. They're just missing the spark. It's like, well, yeah, everything has to be, ever since the 2020 riots, thanks Soros, everything has to be super, super woke. So what they do is they take out any spice where every Pox character has to be a purse puppy. So every antagonist has to be blonde haired, and they're the only ones with any nuance whatsoever. It's like every criminal in the movie is going to be some guy in a ski mask and gloves. It's like, yeah, but I can see the blonde hair peeking out. Oh yeah, wait, you're not istophobic, are you? I'm just saying that's kind of a statistical anomaly. It's like those burglary alarm commercials. Somebody on Telegram and Gab posted a collection of like 50 still shots from alarm company commercials, and they showed the guy in the ski mask, and 50 out of 50 just say they all look like me. Like, oh, this is weird to see it all at once. You're looking at it like, you guys really can't do anything. You painted yourselves in a corner. It's like, yeah, society's painted itself in a corner. Welcome to oh no, the consequences of my own decisions. Wait, why are there rolling power blackouts? Why is the infrastructure crumbling? It's like, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting from a Disney movie. No, I'm not. It's all related. It's all related, man. Strap on that tinfoil hat. You mean my Faraday cage protector? Oh, it's not so crazy now. No, it's still crazy. Whatever. Anyway, so what's happening is people are just going to go stop seeing Disney and Marvel, and they'll Disney will switch to all these properties. Will probably go just to Disney Plus or what's Warner Brother HBO or something, or Warner Brother DC HBO, I think. So they'll just go to their streaming platform, and that'll just be, every once in a while maybe they'll have a movie. But I kind of think the superhero genre is over, not because it ran out of steam, because I don't think it has to run out of steam, but because they painted themselves into a corner with this political correctness. It's a soft Bolshevik revolution where every non-blonde character, it's that soft bigotry or lowered expectations. They have to be purse puppies. So everything is going to be like, I remember seeing that the Black Panther movie, and Shuri, who in real life is actually asking the right questions, especially during the events of the past 3 years. She was asking some very pertinent questions. So was Nicki Minaj, actually, to her credit. And they got shut down real quick. Where's I going with this? Oh, so in that movie, the Pandering was, you had like the smartest guys in the Marvel universe, and just super, super genius scientists. And she comes up with something that they didn't think of. And the guy played Bruce Banner. His line is like, oh, we didn't think of that. It's like, you're pandering. A 12-year-old would look at this and go, you're just pandering because she's black and you're not. That's worse. That's not a collection of how peers interact, where she's all smarmy and smirky a little bit. She goes, oh, I didn't think of this. But you guys are like the smartest guys in the world. Oh no, what we're saying is that she's so much smarter than we are. But that's not the Marvel Universe. You're all like, you all got strengths and weaknesses. You don't have to put people down to elevate yourself. It's like, that's the collection of the three smartest people: Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, the Fantastic Four guy. It's like, yeah, of course there's going to be an overrepresentation of super geniuses. It's comic books, but you can't make somebody have a, oh, we just didn't think of that moment. You just have to elevate all the good characters. You just don't do that. That's not storytelling. But that's how they still tell stories. Because if you have a pox character, they can't share the spotlight. It has to be them over everyone else. It's like, but that's bad storytelling. Yeah, and for Wakanda, the audience ate it up. That thing did over $1 billion. But it had a captive audience. But like, if you keep that up, you're gonna lose the audience. And I look at Disney. I think, yeah, I think Marvel branch of Disney is in trouble. And then I look at Greater Disney, and I know they've got more money than God, more money than Oprah. But you can look in the future, like, if you don't paint yourself out of this corner you're in, if the shareholders don't come together and do something radical, Disney's going to be a theme park, and that's probably going to be about it. Anyway, so the projections for GOG 3 are low. That's a pretty good scene. Which is weird because people like the second one, and I think they love the first one. There's a positive vibe with the characters, and there's actually a rabbit hole theory to the characters, because Peter is the only human, at least in the first of the primary characters, and the rest are the ultimate globalist found family, which is kind of interesting, because the Bolshevik found family concept is like they want you rootless and cut off because you're easily enslaved that way. And that would have been a far right-wing dog whistle like a year ago. And then you hear mainstream left-wing publications talking about the found family, and they're proud of their found family. It's like, so you're happy. It's like the equivalent of like why the country fell apart with feminism and single moms, is because they don't have any stability, because they don't have the patrilineal line of support. And that's kind of what the found family is, except writ even larger. It's like, so you're purposely destroying stability because the media brainwash you into thinking that this is better than a strong nuclear family. And you're proud of like making yourself, kind of like putting yourself in the oppression hierarchy by saying, oh, well, we're BLT, so we're marginalized and oppressed, and now we're on the oppression hierarchy. It's like, yeah, but it's not real. The media told you it's real. And you're jumping into this. And when the media figures out that there's too many fair-skinned people who are jumping on this oppression hierarchy, as like David Chappelle points out, the media is just going to take it away from you, and you'll be left, and a lot of people are going to be left without the ability to bring offspring into the world, because you're just doing whatever the media tells you to do. None of it's real, which means they can change it at any time, and you'll be absolutely on board with it, and you'll be a victim of what they told you to do. Getting a little bit off track, whatever. Anyway, so the the ragtag collection, the Bullshit Found Family, and Peter Quill being the only human, he's got nothing in common with the rest of that ragtag family because they're not even human. So nothing can come as a result of them teaming up. I mean, like, they're gonna settle down and have kids together. She's not even human. I don't. Does she have, like, what does she look like underneath? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do they reproduce? Anyway, maybe it's like a spider. What a way to go. So there are obviously deeper issues here because Disney is run by actual lizard people. The film environment is that Ant-Man disaster that was that 3 or 4? I don't know, that lost money, which is very weird because the actors are pretty well enjoyed. The primary cast, the two older actors, Michelle Pfeiffer and Paul Rudd, and whoever else was in that, like, people know their names. They like those actors quite a bit. But then they race swap Kang, and it was he looks weird. He's got a weird look on his face, as if he's always supercilious, condescending. You know, it just has a condescending. I think it's his natural face. It's not a good look, and it's weird that you'd pick him to be an actor. Like, race swapping aside, if you wanted another Pox actor, you should have had someone who was who on and off camera doesn't have that weird look to his face. And then recently it comes out that he's allegedly, might be a woman abuser, which, allegedly he did out in public, and it's like he strangled a woman, allegedly. That's pretty serious. And I get the juxtaposition between the DC universe of that, the guy who plays the Flash, Ezra Klein or Miller or something. But like, he did some weird stuff, which you look at it and like, okay, either this is like schizophrenia or he's just swimming in an ocean of pharmaceuticals. So I don't know what it is, but it's like he didn't publicly strangle somebody, and people are going, it's estophobicism. It's like, yeah, I would have fired them both. How about that? Does that make you happy? It's like, oh yeah, we aren't expecting that. And like people were talking about the Flash, they go, people aren't going to give a darn about Ezra Miller being a friggin' nut job. They're going to go see the Flash if it looks good. And you hear reviewers talking about it on YouTube, and I realize, like, yeah, the Flash is probably going to be a pretty big hit. People don't care about Ezra Miller. The Kang guy is different. Like, the Kang guy is different because women came to bat for this girl in a big way on social media, because they exchanged text messages back and forth, and even the lawyers were involved. And it was really weird because they seemed to Kang's legal team and Kang, the actor himself, not the character, seemed to validate the abuse. And she was sending texts like the exchange back and forth was saying, like, yes, the abuse happened, and she was saying, like, but it's okay, I was out of control, I deserved it. And it's like that set off so many radar, alarms with people. It's like, this is like a Lifetime movie or something. If this is all validated, then this guy has got to be out. You can't have this guy in any Hollywood. But the thing is, they had a lot of stuff planned for him in the future, and that's all got to go sideways. Or just substitute out the character. Anyway, so he's out for any sequels, but the whole vibe of that series is over. And then you add in him and Ezra Miller, and you look at it's like this stuff spreads. You know what I mean? Like it's rotten corruption. It's one bad apple, but it's starting to spread to the other apples, and you just get a funky feeling about it. You're like, what? I'm just not in the mood for apples at all. If there's, there's just too many apples with worms at the bottom of the bucket. It's like, just throw them in the compost bin. We just don't need apples. That's what it feels like with a lot of this stuff. And these characters were, with Guardians of the Galaxy at least, they were really well liked. That was a solid movie. I could go back and watch that now. It's like I kind of don't. If you see a good movie, it's like I kind of don't even want to see the sequels. It's like with the Terminator movie. Once they switched to, I think 3, they switched directors. I'm like, okay, that's a bad sign. I don't need to see that. And I didn't see that movie and the further sequels for like 20 years or something until after they came out. Anyway, so he's out for the sequels. The whole vibe's over. The whole vibe of all Hollywood is kind of over. Everything's just woke and cringy now, and it's like you got these lizard people in Hollywood. They're just kind of going full mask off, and it feels like the future of Hollywood is getting back to 2015 raw XD levels of cringe, where at least back in 2015, 2016, there were the YouTube channels or the anti-SJW channels. And it's funny because that's how, like, all those anti-SJW people made a huge killing on YouTube, but most of them were left-wing people anyway. And they all switched gears because they got the writing on the wall. It was like, if you don't switch gears, you're gonna get kicked off of YouTube because the narrative, the tight. I mean, it's like there's so much going on behind the scenes of YouTube. It's like, oh, you should make a video about it. Where would you make a video about it on YouTube? Like, nobody's. How are you gonna make a video on Rumble and Odyssey about what's going on behind the scenes of YouTube? It's like by the time people are on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, it's like they just don't give a shit about YouTube anymore. Like, you don't realize how weird YouTube has got until you leave YouTube and get on the other platforms. And even on Subscribestar, thanks you guys over there. 20 subs over there. Anyway, so it feels like they're just like coming back to just the worst of the cringe of the early days, pre-Trump days. But there's no counter opinion that's allowed on the mainstream programs, mainstream platforms. So I will say Twitter's a little bit different with Elon. I mean, it's a little bit different. It's not, you're not going there expecting cabs. So the thing is, this Marxist cancer, the stuff that's spraying out, I don't know any normies anymore, but I got to assume, I don't know if they're able to articulate specifically why these movies are so just flat, like why they don't want to see the movies. Go, I just don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. We're able to talk about these Bolshevik talking points in the movies, the propaganda, but to a lot of people who are not worried about that, they just see the movies like, yeah, just there's no spark to it. It's just a rice cake or something. Anyway, oh, then they also had that, I don't know if they show the poster, but it's that poster they came out with where, I almost said Gamera. Is it Gamera and Zigra? Gamera is full of meat. If you saw Mystery Science Theater. Whatever this chick's called. There's a poster of her, and it's just not a very flattering poster. And they seem like, look at us, we're making women ugly. Yeah, you understand that you're in sales, right? This is marketing and sex sells. No. We don't want to sell sex. And it's just one poster. I get that. And she's not the reason you're seeing the movie anyway. The reason you're seeing the movie is because you like whatever this guy's name is. Not Chris Evans, not Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt, maybe? Or Ryan Reynolds? I don't know, one of those guys. He's the reason you see the movie. It's like, why wouldn't you try to sell across every facet of the crystal? Like, sexist says what? Like, none of that's real. Anyway, people still like Game of Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's just like all of Disney just has got this reputation of there's just nothing to it. You watch these movies and it's the test is do you want to sit down and rewatch it again? Where a great like the original game Guardians of the Galaxy, like absolutely check it out again. It's really solid. Everything that's come out in the past 4 years is like not only do I not want to see it again, it's like I'm not going to pay to see it. And that's like I've already reached that point a long time ago. The last time I want to see a movie, I talked to somebody about Ant-Man. I go, hey, you want to go see the movie? And he's like, no. Wait for it to come out on streaming. I'm like, whoa, I did not. This guy sees everything. He's a fan. And even him said that, like, there's just nothing, it wasn't worth going to the theater for. I was surprised to hear that. But no, I don't pay for any of this kind of stuff. Why would you pay for things in the age of sailing the high seas? You know that you have to, if you want to support content, you have to pay for it. It's like that with, the people who are making Odyssey, BitChute, Subscribestar type of videos, but it's also like that with these kind of movies too. But you look at Disney, you realize like, some of the stuff's not even worth sailing the high seas for anymore. Like after things you've got 3 bad movies in a row, you're going to unsub from Disney Plus. You're not going to be paying any of these streaming services. And after 6 bad movies in a row, you're not even going to go pirate any of this stuff. It's just not worth it. Anyway, plus, Disney's lizard people who are like pushing this Epstein Island kind of degeneracy on kids. And there's that whole Florida thing. And like everything is just, eventually people just get to the point where they kind of wash their hands of all of this kind of stuff. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys all next episode.